Idi Amin's last order as he left Nile Mansion was they are going to meet the next morning to have a one-on-one. Because once they found everything, he was in that position where he said, these are big people. I cannot treat them like the common thief and just say, because everybody will say, that's why he organized a public event and called all the diplomats and put all the evidence in front of them. And he said, this is what is happening. And it's actually at that point, it was only Janan Luwum who was being questioned because they had found it at his location. And it was recorded and broadcast live. This was live. It was not anything, What Janan Luwum was saying was put on live. What the president was saying was live. Everything was, and the whole country could hear that. I think BBC was also there, and maybe some of the Canadian broadcasters. And so what happened is that actually at one point the Archbishop himself came up and said, yes, I am sorry, I apologize for this, that for what I was doing. And now what happened also was that the other two, the IGP and the Minister of Internal Affairs, they were not actually involved. They had been summoned to attend, but unfortunately, what happened is that when the Archbishop was asked to speak, he then said, I am sorry, but I was not alone. I was with this person and with this person. He mentioned them by name. And that's how Oriema and the other, they got involved. They were now suspects in the issue. But because all the three were also big people and it was now an international issue, they could not also be treated in that way, just like the lay person. And that's why the president actually said he should have a face-to-face meeting with them on this matter, the three. The investigation went on and other people were caught and arrested and so on. But these three, because of their caliber in the country, he said, okay, take them home and then bring them back the next morning and have a meeting with them at the president's office. You were supposed to have a meeting in the morning. And he left. So that was the end of his part in all of this. Only to hear later that something happened and that they are dead, Being the leader, you have to be aware of also the political implications now of what has just developed. And of course, he was really annoyed of what has happened because now, regardless of what he did, this was now going to be tainted on him. And I remember he had a quarrel with the security people that I left, clear orders. How now you have brought me problems, and so on. So that's what really happened. People have said so many things, and like you asked, the involvement of other groups and so on. But I can tell you, there was one person, Sergeant Moses Okello, and an incident happened here. Yes, the Archbishop, what was he doing? He was using the sanctity of the church to advance a political agenda of Milton Obote. That's why I call it all, this is just Obote. In fact, he died on Obote's things, and Obote has gotten away with everything, because everything they were instigating here and doing here, it was on Obote's orders. And that's why even, people have to remember that all of them, whether it's the Archbishop, whether it is the Frunasa people, whether all of them are working on Obote's orders. And whatever they did at that time, the ultimate responsibility, the person responsible for it, is Obote. Whatever they did, because they came here, they were fighting. They say it themselves, we were fighting. I mean, people died in that fight. People died. So everything that they did, and the people who died, it was a responsibility of Obote, and he has gotten away with that. Yes.
Right. There was a meeting that was scheduled. What was the objective of that meeting?
I think it was just going to be a political meeting to try and diffuse everything. And I am not sure what could have gone, because it never happened. So I'm not sure what could have gone on. But what I know is that they were going to be brought in to the meeting and have now an open discussion about everything.
Now,
so that, give them also an opportunity, possibly also to get some security information as well, besides the political talking and diffusing of the incident, de-escalating. Yes, because other people it was a very big operation, it was very big, and other people were caught as well in that, yes.
About him as a man who was vocal against acts of human rights violation.
Yes, yes.
And when you look at the religious leaders of today, do you think they've done enough?
He was vocal in the human rights violations, and unfortunately he was vocal in what he was instigating himself and pretending to be vocal. Those of today have to make their own choices as well and stand up to human rights. Human rights violations is a very serious thing. Nobody should be going around that. If a religious leader or whatever, whether it's a mosque or church or whatever, when society is bleeding, that they have to stand up. There's no other way to go around that. Even places like the Uganda Human Rights Commission and so on. So it is definitely something that somebody has to take a stand on. But it is also a personal decision. The leaders who take that stand, this is Africa. A lot of people are not thinking in terms of the rule of law, in terms of the judicial process, in terms of justice. There's a lot of individuals who go and take action that can be characterized as retribution. Retribution means just getting angry and, he did this, I'm going to get back at the person on this. And this is completely out of the judicial institution, police or whatever. And even some people in the police and the army. Up to today, I think we are all aware of Kakwenza, the activist writer Kakwenza, and what he has gone through. It is very troubling. I mean, you just look at the injuries alone. It would be inhumane for anybody to say he deserved that. It's really terrible. And the religious leaders today it is their duty. They are somehow the shepherds of society. If you want these things to come to an end, there has to be constant pressure about that issue to make society better. There are countries outside where these things are not happening anymore. Of course, there is no country where it is not completely happening. Everywhere something is happening here and there. But the more we institutionalize the thinking that this is completely wrong and no government should be doing that, and especially bringing the person who did that, bringing the person to book and to answer for what they did, that is actually one of the most important things that needs to happen. Even in this case of Kakwenza, someone has to come and say, okay, listen, this is unacceptable, and the people who did this face some form of disciplinary action or something. Yes.
My last question, Papa.
Yeah.
How can we differentiate politics from church?
Politics from church. It is very difficult to differentiate. Yes, the religious leaders need to understand where they draw the line. Where they draw the line primarily is in this partisan politics. The churches are where everybody should be able to come regardless of affiliation, political affiliation, whether you're this party or that party or whom. That is the same for all the mosques and everywhere. So that partisan politics should not be part of what is going on in the church. But they should be able to come out and speak in regards to the wrongs that are going on in society in general. Yes, injustices going on, human rights abuses and so on. Yes, they should come up and speak about it. But of course now going into partisan politics, yes, now that is a line they have crossed. Because if you are now going to one side and join one party, everything you will say about the other one is going to be tainted politically. It is from a political perspective. And you cannot be able to come to this other side and say that also, yes, those people whom I was with, they were doing this, but that never happens because you are there. So that partisan politics is where the churches have to draw the line. They are sort of an entity where you need everybody to come to your church, whether they are thinking what politically or everything. And you do not want to be there alienating them at the political level. That is the best way for the churches to be able to address some of these issues. And they have to be, by the way, very careful and very sensitive to their flock, the sensitivities of their flock, and address these issues in that way. Wow. That is how I see it. Yes.
Thank you so much, Abba.